speed holes. So the real question here is, can we save it? And the answer is, hell no. Hey guys, it's Cam here. Welcome back to the Build Room. In this week's episode, we are staying right in our wheelhouse and working on a rusty first gen Celica. We're tearing apart a tetanus tip job. So stick around and check it out. Okay, so hopefully an exciting episode today. We've got something a little bit new, but a little bit the same. So any of you guys out there that have got a first gen Celica or really any semi-popular car of that age, parts are getting really hard to find now for them. So when an opportunity comes up, you have to run with it. And that's exactly what we're gonna do today. Now, I promise you that we are gonna get back to violet crumbles next week. Like I said, I've got new tools and a new approach, so I'm excited to try that out. But for now, let's jump out in the driveway and see what we're working with today. All right, so this is it. And this is as it was delivered. Had to be strapped up and pulled off the back of a truck. Not good for my image here. Probably gonna upset the neighbors with this one, so we're gonna have to move quick and get this out of the way. Anyway, it's an RA23 Celica, no surprises there. I'm gonna put the camera down, get some wheels on this, and then we'll do a quick run through of the car once it's on its wheels. All right, so this is it. Got her on a set of wheels. You would have seen that I had to, basically all of the brakes were seized, so I had to pull the calipers off on the front and pull the drums off in the rear, get some actual tires with air in it, and then we're good to go. But I think it looks pretty mean like this. Definitely got a bit of a, I don't know, Mad Max or trash bag kind of vibe to it. So I'm digging it. Let's have a closer look. So first up, obviously the rust is the biggest deal here. If you have a look on the roof, someone's probably jumped on the roof at some point. This has been out in the field for quite some time in Meriden, which is a area of rural Western Australia. That has then rusted through the roof, so we have a nice little hole in there, if you can see, straight through into the interior. Lots of fun there. Plenty of other holes in the standard areas of rust. The bonnet's not fitting properly because you know those bonnet hinges are gone. And the boot, well, it looks like someone decided to pry their way into that at some point. So yeah, that's not salvageable. Looking around the back, you know what? The tail lights and the rear valance and the bumper and everything look pretty sweet. Still more and more rust as we go around. Have a quick look in the interior. All of the door skins and things like that. I mean, most of this interior is just junk. It's been wet, obviously, with the hole in the roof for quite a number of years, I would say, but also Meriden is really hot. So this level of heat that would have gone through this thing over the course of its life is probably pretty extreme, sitting out in the elements. So headliners gone, falling down, no surprises there. The dashboard looks pretty much intact. The area underneath has cracked in the standard spots, and it's missing a big chunk over there, if you can see that. Center console's there, but it's cracked as well. See that big crack straight through there. I mean, All of these things crack anyway, so you usually have to reinforce them and repair them, but it's just a case of whether you can make that repair hidden or not. It does have a gearbox in it. You can see the gear stick sticking out there. That will be the standard W50. It's got a handbrake boot. It's got seats. They are the sort of houndstooth, the beige houndstooth style. Moving into the back, got some bush chook bitter. The rear area is missing its sail panels, and I was really hoping it had these because one of you guys was looking for a set, which is a bit of a shame. Check out the carpet here underneath that hole. We have a cheer farm going on here. This is disgusting. Yeah, you can see a lot of stains. Same with the floor over here. It's like a forest. That is unbelievable. Yeah, that's really gross. I'm definitely going to wear a mask when we start pulling stuff out of this. If we jump out now and have a look under the bonnet, or hood, if you will. All right, so those hinges are shot. I'm actually just bending the bonnet there. You can see it lifting away. Yeah, they're garbage. There's no saving those. But if you look in here, we have an 18RC engine. This is the same engine that's in Violet Crumbles and in Doofer. This one though has air conditioning, which is basically the reason that I bought this. Air conditioning in these cars is really hard to find nowadays, and I live in WA and need it. It's also got a heater tap. I can't really see if that's the standard one under there or not, but also those are very, very hard to find. Got a stock intake, stock carb, stock air cleaner, all of the standard stuff. But yeah, you know, everything's here. It's in pretty average condition. Some of the hoses do look pretty good, I guess, because they haven't gone through many engine heat cycles. They've just gone through daily heat cycles being out in a paddock. You know, we've got a radiator fan shroud there. If you look down the bottom, we've got a skid plate right underneath that compressor. You know, there's a starter motor there. In terms of the aircon, yes, we've got the compressor. We've also got the receiver and the condenser and the evaporator. All of it's here. I've just checked that out a little bit before. We've got a battery tray there that looks about as good as any other one, although hopefully the battery was taken out of this and it hasn't had too much acid damage. Standard overflow and washer bottle reservoirs are trashed. That's to be expected. One of the other things I need, just a little thing, I need for Doofer, the metal clamp down there that holds the fuel filter. So that's good to have. I've got a good set of wipers there. I mean, those are stainless, so they tend not to degrade too much. We've got an aerial. All of the stainless steel trim looks pretty good. Coming up front, we've got some lights that are salvageable there. The headlight surrounds. That grille might even be good. The bumper's trashed. The valance down the bottom there is not great, but it's better than a lot of other ones that I've seen, so that will probably come off. And some more lights and bits and pieces. Now, as you probably guessed, this is not going to be a permanent addition to the build room because yeah, it's pretty trash. But what we can do is pull some parts off and use it to save those guys. Now, unfortunately at the moment, there is no room at the inn at the build room. We've way too many cars at the moment. So this thing we are going to try and strip in a single day, and then it will be picked up and turned into a cube. For those of you saying we should try and rescue it, there's just no chance. It's not going to happen. Too far gone. You'd end up spending, you know, 100 grand to try and get this thing back to something that resembled usable. The Celica is in far better condition than this, so that should tell you something. One thing you can also note is the reason this was actually originally just left in a paddock. I don't know if it shows up on camera, but right here we have the imprint of a defect notice. So this was yellow stickered, taken off the road, and never driven again. Now, based on its condition, the first thing that I'm going to do here today is get in there with some fly spray, clean out that interior, and make sure that we're safe when we're working on this, because I don't want to run into any creepy crawlies. I should have just put a bug bomb in here, but I don't have time. So we're just going to spray away. These will all be a bit slimy, but whatever. I just got to laugh. Look at that. That is just unbelievable. It's like its own little microcosm just been growing away in the back of the car. I'm actually impressed that this sort of moss would actually grow in Merredin, because Merredin, if you want to look it up on the old Googleator, Merredin is a pretty hot place to be. Anyway, we'll keep spraying. All right, so the game plan for today is to pull off everything that I need and leave as much of the stuff that I don't The bottom line is there's just not a lot that's really worth salvaging. There's a lot of parts in there, but as soon as you look at them up close, most of them are beyond ever being useful on a car again. So there is some of this stuff that's going to just disappear and get turned into a cube, but I don't have the room to store it. And like I said, there's really not a lot of value in it. So we're just going to get stuck into it. We're going to work from the outside in, and I've actually got a helper here today, Mike, who is not super keen to be on camera that much, but he is going to represent in a build room t-shirt though. So if you're wondering why I don't introduce him, it's his own personal preference. So yeah, we're just going to set some cameras up on tripods. It's not going to be hugely interactive, but we're going to run a big time lapse and you guys can see what we pull off and how it goes. And while the montage is running, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit that notification bell. right, so the rusty wreck is out of the driveway. I am safe from my neighbours and the trouble and strife. You might notice that episode did take more than a day. It was a couple of days in fact. And in the end I had both Mike and Kelly helping out, which managed to get me through it as quickly as possible. And it is on its way to becoming a cube. But we did get a lot out of it while it was here. Its sacrifice will be appreciated. I mean, I'm not going to go through the whole parts list, but we managed to get the air conditioning out, we got the gearbox out, the bumper is absolutely perfect. That is definitely going on Violet Crumbles when she's done. We got the sheet metal around the boot. Now, if that's not needed for Violet Crumbles, what I am going to do is turn that into a kick-ass piece of wall art. I got a center console out of it, which is not the right color and also not in the best condition, but it is better than nothing. A lot of people really struggle to find one of those. And then finally, we got a whole bunch of little clips and trims and things like that that are just hard to find, and if you can get them, you should keep them. Oh, and I did also cut the bonnet vents off, and I may find a use for them in the future. But yeah, overall, it was a good couple of days and I've got a lot out of it. In comparison to what I paid for it, now I did pay a high price because of the current climate, but I do think I managed to get enough value out of it. Certainly, there's things here that I will put into storage that I'm definitely going to use later on down the track. And there's a few other bits that I pulled off to help people out and bits and pieces like that. So all in all, I think we're a win there. And that just leaves us with next week. And as I said, we are going to be back on Violet Crumbles and we're going to be looking at taking the dents out of that rear end. Other than that, it's just the usual spiel of don't forget to like, subscribe and comment below. And if you're new to the channel, I'll put the full Violet Crumbles series links up here and I'll also put some A90 content down here. Other than that, I just want to say thanks for watching and I'll see you next time on The Build Room. Bye for now.